Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about some of the different types of light strands that you probably will see and use whenever doing your Christmas lights. Christmas lights usually come in a couple different circuits. You can have where the whole light strand, if one bulb goes out, the whole thing goes out. You can have it where if one bulb goes out, the whole thing stays lit. And you can have it where if one bulb goes out, just some of the lights go out and some of them stay lit. So I want to kind of just briefly explain this. I am by no means an electrician. All of this has just come just from me doing some research. I'm just a guy who likes Christmas lights. And so I'm just kind of telling you based off my experience with it. And so I want to try to explain to you guys just a couple different things that I'm doing here at the house. Because my issue is every single year, I end up having to throw away a lot of different light strands. And the reason is because so many of my light strands I'll buy, I try to go on the cheaper route. And so I get like more lights for the money. And what ends up happening is lights will go out and I'll have a whole section of lights go out. I've used like the Christmas light fixtures where you try to tell which bulb is the one that's out, and then you replace it to get the whole series back up. The problem is that I spend so much time trying to fix these light strands, it's just not really worth my time or the pain and agony it is to go through each individual bulb trying to test it to see what's working and where my problem is. And sometimes there would be multiple bulbs that were bad on the whole thing, so I'd fix one and really not see any progress, and then I have to go and find that there's another one out. And so what I'm trying to do is convert my house over to strands that if a bulb goes out, the whole thing stays lit, and that I can just replace individual bulbs. And so what that actually requires me doing is I'm buying these light strands like this. And so they come empty with no lights on them, and then I buy the bulbs separate. And so what I actually have to do is I can create my own custom light strand. So I buy different sets of bulbs. So I have red here and I have green here I just showed. And so I'll take each bulb and put it on each lamp here. So you can buy this in really long lengths, like 400 or 500 feet. And so with this, you can cut it into different lengths, and then you can get different female and male ends to create your custom strings fit perfectly to your house. So a lot of the things I have right now, like on my gutters and that, those ones are cheaper light string. And what happens is at the end, I have a bunch of lights that I just kind of have to hide because I reached the ends of my gutter. Well, with this, I don't have to worry about it because I can just cut it to the perfect length, and it's custom made just for my house. And so I want to kind of give you an example. I know these are two different types of light strings, but I want to kind of just show you, just based on how they're wired, the differences. And so this one over here, what I'm trying to start making most of my lights be, is you can see it's two wires. And so what this actually runs off of is what's called a parallel circuit. And so what happens is whenever you're plugging this in, each individual light bulb gets power to itself. So the next one isn't dependent on the one before it. So if you remove a bulb or a bulb breaks or whatever, every other thing stays lit. So with these ones, when you plug this in, what's happening is you'll have a series. So power will go to the first series of lights, light them up. But if one of the bulbs in that series is broken or removed, what will happen is that whole series will go out. And so for that new strand of lights, I'm actually going to be lighting up the pathway here on both sides in the mulch and in the grass, just kind of leading up to our front door. And so what I have these that stake into the ground, and then the light just goes on each one of these. And so the first thing I'm going to do is kind of do a dry run before I make any cuts or anything. And I'm going to attach each little lamp to these, stick it in the ground, and so that I know exactly where to cut it. And so when I bought these things, they actually came on like a real cheap light set. So the light set went out like the first year. But you can see with these, and I kept these because these parts were nice. I just threw away the light strand. And so if like the C9s fit perfectly in there, the wire just fits right there down in that slot, and it stays on there perfectly. Okay, so here's one side of the strands attached. And so my one strand here is 50 feet long. And so I used 29 lights here, and it's one light per foot. So I still have 21 lights left, so roughly 21 feet left, and I still have to light up that side over there. Well, I measured it out, and I have right around 19 feet or so. So I have the perfect amount of lights here to do this. So here comes the moment of truth. I need to cut the strand. And so this is my first time ever messing with lights like this, so I need to make sure I know what I'm doing. So I'm gonna pick somewhere a little bit here to give me a little bit of room on both sides, give me a little bit in the middle, and there we go. We're now past the point of no return. And so I'm gonna attach a plug on this side and a plug on this side, and then we'll run those on this side, and then hopefully we'll be good to go. And so there you can see it's all attached together. And so this was, I measured it out to make sure I had the right amount. So this is just 50 feet of cord. But I could have easily just bought like 200 feet of cord if I had a lot more lights to do. And then just made multiple cuts through it. And then I just keep having to add different ends. So the next thing I want to do is show you how to add male and female ends to your cut cord. Okay, and so this is how you do it. And so you can look here. This is the male end. So at the end of this one, on the other side, I have the female end. So make sure you're looking to see which one, because you need to do the opposite. And so you can see here what these have is they have little they call them vampire teeth. Just so you can see them sticking up here. And so one for each. And so if you look at the plugs here, one of them's much wider than the other one. So that's important. I can't just go and stick this in here and do this. I need to make sure I'm working with the right one. So the first thing they say to do is to take something and separate the two wires. And so I got the wires pulled apart here, and these are not both the same. They're two different. One's a neutral wire and one's the hot wire. And so the way to tell the difference is one of them is ribbed on the side. If you look at this one right here, it's kind of got ribs around the edges over here. And so that's there, and then when you look on this side, it's smooth. So ribbed and smooth. So the ribbed one is actually going to be for the wider plug, and the smooth one's going to be for the smaller one. Okay, so I have my two wires here, and then I need to make sure the ribbed one is going on the wider side. So my ribbed one's over on the side. I stick these two down in this hole, bend them down over, and then I have to push them down with my thumb to try to make it smooth, because I need that little cap to slide on over top. And what's going to happen is, as I push these ones down, the vampire teeth are actually going to push into the cords and give myself make a connection there. And so there it is, starting to go on. Yep, and it's pushing it down really tight. And so there we go. So now I have myself a male plug at the end. So it's just real simple. The hardest thing for me was just getting this little cap on at the end. You just have to make sure you push the cords down pretty hard into the little grooves. And so now we should be ready to go. So now let's do the female end. So now we're going to attach a female plug onto this. And so it looks like it's pretty similar to the male one we just did. So first thing you need to do, make sure that on your other end of your cord you have a male side, so that you do female. You don't want to have two female or two male. So my other end is a male, so I need the female over here. First thing you need to do is split the wires. Okay, so I have my two wires split here. I got my ribbed end on the side, and so what I want to do is have my ribbed end. It's the same thing, has the vampire teeth, just like the other one. I want my ribbed end facing the side that says ribbed. And so I'm going to stick both of these into this back slot right here. So stick the rib side down in that way. Now pushing the cap on. What that's going to do is it's going to force the two vampire teeth to push in to the cables there, to the cord, and there we go. We got ourselves a female. So now the bulbs just come in individual packs now, and I'll just be screwing them in to each one. These are our C9 LEDs, and so we'll just screw them in and make sure it works. And so you can see here, I got both ends plugged in, and they're the only light bulbs on the entire thing. The rest of them are just empty. And so it worked. So I got them both plugged in, and see, that's kind of the cool thing, is so none of the other bulbs affect this one. So if you have one go out, you can just replace a single bulb. And so now all I need to do is just go and start screwing in all the bulbs down the line.